having some positive impact in the lives of people and helping there where we could help. And we'll continue to do our bit. Very proud to be associated with this team that has focused on getting you the news and also to keep that chin up, help you smile a little more and hold on to that thread of hope that is so much more important. But one thing that stands out, we cannot attack our caregivers. Earlier in the evening, I had the chance to speak to Dr. Pratap Reddy, the founder of Apollo Hospitals, the entire chain. He's also an entrepreneur. And here's what a person with 65 years in the caregiving area had to say. As a doctor, as a human being, as an entrepreneur, and somebody who's seen life at its closest corners with its biggest challenges. Listen in. And joining us now is Dr. Pratap Reddy. He's the founder of Apollo Hospitals. Mr. Reddy, thank you very much. Dr. Reddy, for talking to us. Always good to speak to you. Your reaction to the ordinance and the government
CNN
taking note on the assault?
I think stands that need to have been addressed to, because the doctors who are sparing all their time in difficult times, especially now, when everybody is staying at home, it is the doctor, the nurse, the paramedical staff and the administrator, whom I call the unsung heroes. They have been fighting, but unfortunately, they have been being ill-treated for a number of years. I recollect, so the cabinet decision yesterday, passing that ordinance, is very, very crucial, because when the doctors do their very best, it doesn't mean that always doesn't mean that. So, and what they get back is terrible. I remember way back in 2007, when one or two of our hospitals had this incident, I went to then Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Rajasekhar Reddy. Within 72 hours, he passed an ordinance that is a punishable offense. One or two other states adopted it. But today, I'm glad the Prime Minister convening the cabinet meeting and passing this ordinance, which I think is a true recognition that of course, I thank the Indian Medical Association who stood firm and took this up.
Dr. Reddy, if I may ask you, do you believe that this should extend beyond the COVID period? Do you believe that the government, all leaders need to put their heads together and there needs to be a law against assault of those in the business of care, that is caregivers?
I think it's not my view. I reinforce that practically everyone in their normal sense will think the sacrifice that a doctor and the paramedics and the nurses, they all do, ordinarily when managing patients in difficult times and during crises like this. So I think this act is very, very necessary, because what they have done is totally, it's not damage. It is damaging and the sense of their individualism. So I think this act should be permanent forever. And I think other countries should follow the Indian lead to bring such an amendment, because it's happening not so much in other countries, but it's happening. Because at that time, when everything is done, they say, thank you, doctor, and give all sorts of things. But there are also times that the doctor can do very, very well. Like in this COVID, our tools are very little. We don't have an appropriate antibiotic. We don't have an appropriate anti-against this COVID. Although people are working very hard, hopefully in the next few days or first few weeks, we will have the weapon to fight this crisis. But the act is very, very essential. I commend our cabinet, Prime Minister and his team to have brought this act. I hope it not only lasts in the country forever. I hope other countries will look up and bring similar acts in their countries to save doctor community, the nursing community, the healthcare people who give everything they can. Today everybody is staying at home because the doctors and nurses and paramedics, these are working. Isn't that sacrifice when everybody else stays home to stay safe? And, I admire our government.
Dr. Reddy, may I ask you?
Done many things.
There are two questions, two aspects to it, sir.
Yes.
There are two ways. One
Please.
is the doctors at the hospitals at the point where they are with the patients. The other is when they go back home, when they are going into societies, when they are going back to where they are living, their base. They are also facing discrimination there. As somebody who spent 65 years in caregiving, in saving lives, what would you tell people who have this attitude that they don't want doctors as tenants, nursing staff as tenants, attendants as tenants, or perhaps residing in their society and area because they look at them saying, "Ye COVID benefit, COVID to nahi leke aaya hai. Is this person going to infect us?" We saw the attitude that was on display by certain sections of society with Dr. Simon. You raised that issue. What would you tell such people?
Yes. I think the people at large must realize that they are safe because there is the other person who working tirelessly night and day, because the healthcare doesn't have a fixed coming at 10 o'clock and going back at 5. They may be called in the night. They will have to do in the night calls. And they'll have to work on ordinary problems and do it extraordinarily well, and may attack the extraordinarily difficult problem like this and make it possible to save individuals' lives. Such people must be honored, and certainly not be insulted or not saying we don't want the doctor or the nurse staying in our place, they will infect. Because they are teaching you how to stay safe, stay home, stay safe, safe distancing. All this came out of healthcare people's guidelines. And community must respect. There is someone, I'm sitting at home, there is somebody else, a huge force of healthcare force who is working around the clock to protect us or protect other citizens like me. I think that spirit must come in.
As somebody who's also advising the government at various measures, what are the next steps that the government needs to take at a larger level? You're also an entrepreneur. You're looking at how the economy is also hurting. So I'm going to ask, my final question is, what is it that you would advise should be the next steps for India to emerge out of the lockdown while we actively fight COVID?
Cure and save people, that's number one. But on the same term, once this is over, we have to cure and save the healthcare industry. I don't know if the country is aware, the number of small nursing homes, large nursing homes, they are all almost on the brink of completely shut down because they are not able to pay salaries, they are not getting any patients. So I think for like other industries, yes, healthcare should get the top priority to see, because we need to fight the moment this is over. There are bigger problems that we have. We're having increasing number of heart attacks. The cancer is growing at 40%. So we need the hospitals, we need healthcare, but for them to recuperate for the next 6 months, whatever they can, they should give.